I'm going to de-gift you. I'm recording, so don't talk. All right. Two different new variable types in SFML we haven't talked about. Yeah, lab 20. First one's clock, so I'll just call it the letter C. There's another variable type called time. I'll call that letter T. No, it's all done in SFML. So when I make this clock variable, it basically just starts a clock at 0 and keeps track of the time the whole time. So for instance, I could go like this. C out the letter C. Print that out. And that will print out the time that my program's been running for. The only problem is C out is a C++ code and clock is an SFML, so it doesn't know how to output C. It'll give you this really crazy error. Okay? Because it's not a string and it's not an int and it's not a float. So what you could do is you could, same thing with T, by the way. You can't print out time either like that. But what you can do is write C, hit dot. You can see there's two commands available to you. One's called get elapsed time. That's probably the one we want to use. The other one's called restart, which will restart your clock back to 0. So the problem with this is, though, it is a time variable. So it's not going to be able to print that one out either. Shoot, shoot. But if we hit dot one more time, we can see that there are some ints and floats available to us. You can print it as microseconds, as milliseconds, or as seconds. So I'm going to print it out as seconds. Zoom in on that. That should print out the time my program runs constantly for me. It's kind of what I want to do. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Now you can see the time. Okay? Yeah, with the cout command you can. Here's a cool thing you could do. You could say something like this, okay? If my clock is ever bigger than 5 seconds, let's say I want to do some code and then restart it. Do something, I don't know. Let's say I want to like put a target on my screen because we're going to be making like a gallery shooter type game. So I want a target to pop up every 5 seconds. This is the way I would do it. I would make an if statement to check if my timer is ever bigger than 5 seconds. I would do my code there, and then I would restart the clock. Okay. And if I print out my clock, hopefully every 5 seconds it'll go back down to 0. So let me just print it out here. Oopsie. End line. Every 5 seconds this clock should restart. And I could put code in that if statement if I want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's back to 0. Okay? So now I have the ability to kind of control my game based on time instead of just based on frame rate, which is a lot better for us in the long run. Watch this. I'm going to divide my time by 1 second. Let me get rid of this code for now. Okay. I'm going to comment it out. Edit, comment. Okay. I'm going to restart my clock every single frame. C.restart. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to watch what my timer does here. Let's see how long. It's basically going to tell me. Actually, I should restart it after I print it out because it's always going to say 0, right? If I restart the clock, it should be right at 0, and then if I print it out, it should be at 0. So I'm going to print it out, then restart it. This should tell me how long it took to run the loop once. Okay? This number here is my seconds per frame. That number there is my seconds per frame. Has anyone heard of that word before? SPF? Okay, seconds per frame. What if I want to invert that to frames per second? Yeah, 1 divided by that should give me FPS, right?
You can calculate your frames.
FPS, let's try it. So I'm going to I'm going to print out 1 divided by my time. Let's see what my FPS is here. What is it near? What is it close to all the time? 60, yeah. Okay. Around 60. It can't always hold it to 60 because it's a computer. There's other things going on with it. Shh. Shh. I'm recording my video. Keep your thoughts to yourself. Zane, I can hear you talking a lot. Evan, Justin.
Mr. B, I talked 1 time.
I'm almost done recording, okay?
I talked 1 time.
I know, but you have a very your voice carries. Your voice carries. Okay, watch this. I'm going to uncomment my code, or uncomment my frame rate, and then we'll see how fast this computer can really draw that circle. Okay. Sometimes.
Why does Lab 20 say Lab 18?
It used to be Lab 18. It can sometimes draw this 2,000 times a second, sometimes 1,000, sometimes 700. Just depends on what's going on in the background of the computer. Okay, so that's how you do frame rates. You just restart your clock, and then you print out your time. You print out your time first, and then restart your clock. Okay, so that's all there really is to do with clocks. We're going to use them in our games. We're also going to use them to move stuff in our games later. But for now, that's a good intro.